Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Constance, and I have here Jessica. I just want to thank everybody for coming back to the podcast and tuning in. Just want to remind everyone to go stop by and sign the petition. Let me just put it up here for everyone to see so that you can get on there, sign, share with anyone that you know, friends, teachers, anything like that. So I just want to introduce our guest here today, which I'm really excited about. So this is Jessica, Jessica Watkins. So she
Hi
is a
everyone.
registered behavior technician, and you've been one for almost 5 years, pretty much 5 years now going on.
Going on 6, yes.
Oh, hey, so going on
Yes.
6 years, yes. So,
Yes.
all right. So she also conducts one-on-one therapy for children with autism and other intellectual disabilities. And we're not done here. She recently received her master's in science with a concentration in applied behavior analysis, which is a big deal for parents like me, a big deal, which I was saying to her earlier within the autism community, because I know on a lot of Facebook pages talking about
Mhm.
ABA, understanding ABA is really important to parents like us. So happy to have you on. Happy that you're moving in
Sure.
the direction that you're moving in to help parents like me. So thank you for coming on, Jessica.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. I was just telling Constance this is my first podcast, so bear with me. I've
Yeah,
never
please
done
do.
this before. But yes, I could just tell you a little bit about what I do. Um, I do mainly one on one sessions. I work with specifically children 5 and down, so probably ages 1 to 5. But I do work with some older kids, but the oldest they may be is about 10. And we do have different types of sessions. So I do have clients that may do just community sessions. They may need practice eating out when the family goes out to eat, learning how to sit and have manners at the table when you go out, or playing with kids at the park. So those will be called maybe like community sessions you can have. So they kind of learn natural play and life skills. And there is school sessions. Now, when school's in session, I do a lot of school sessions, which I
Okay.
do like to see because there's a lot of skills that you don't think we learn, but just engaging and going to school every day, having a schedule, all of that goes into that child's brain, and that's how he will learn from there. But it
Yeah.
really is all, it depends on the kid. I've never got the same kid, of course. You never do.
Okay.
So
So every
it's
child
really,
is different.
so it's like I could tell you how things work, but it really depends on that specific individual and what works for them. So you never
Okay.
want to like group someone into one thing because one thing 10 kids might like, the other one may not. So you got
Right.
to really see what they prefer and how or what they want to work on. And a really big thing now, which they weren't doing before, I do like um, we're asking the parents what they would like to see more of as far as where do you want us to start.
Okay.
Um, some people want to start with potty training. Some people want to just focus on life skills. Or like really, we're trying to partner more with the parents so that you get the outcome that you're striving for, and the client still grows to be independent in the long run. Is what we try to do, which I do like now. Because at first we were kind of, you just kind of see what skills they have and you go from there. But what do you
Okay.
want us to work on? What do you want to see first? Because we kind
Okay.
of go by milestones.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing something, that's where we're going to start then. And what skill do you have doing that specific thing? Then we'll write it out. Whereas, like, if the parent just tell us, we'll write that in the plan, start working on that, but still put in the stuff he may need to get over that milestone.
Okay. I feel like the school sessions you're talking about, we all are familiar with, but when you get into the community sessions, I'm not as familiar with that, even though I do have, therapists that come in to see Awesome. And when you talk about like going out to eat and doing stuff like that, how would a parent go about trying to get, because those seem like life skills that a lot of us would want our children to have, not just the school sessions.
Right. Um, the first thing I've even asked my personal supervisors, when a parent wants something, they want the parent to tell them.
Okay.
I mean, is the service is for you. We're here to service you. So I mean, I would hope they listen to the parent. But yes, you should be able to talk to your behavior analyst and they should be able to just write it in because that's something you would want Austin to learn.
Right. I didn't know that was a thing. So I
Yeah,
think the thing
see, a
for
lot of
parents
parents don't
wouldn't
know
even
they can
know.
say anything, and I
Yeah.
think that's the disconnect. Yeah, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So you tell me what you want to do. We're still going to do our stuff, but we can implement the things you want to see now or
Right.
work on now. So yes, community, like actually the other day, one of my kiddos, I went to the dentist with them. It seems to be a very tough thing. The
It
doctor
is.
does a lot.
It
They see
is.
the materials, they see it's definitely a tough one. So I do dentist appointments, I'll go doctor's appointments, like anything that you really feel like they need work on because it is all behavioral and you want to be able to go out and eat or go out to the library real quick or like simple daily things that families do.
Yeah.
But I hear a lot of parents, they're nervous, they're running around the restaurant, they're
Yeah.
screaming,
It
and then
becomes like an
parents,
anxiety type of thing where you
yeah,
just end
no,
up
I'm
taking them
sorry.
out.
You're kind of the parents are like, you want some a little bit understanding, and the people are like, yeah, but he can't do this in here, and it's a whole lot that goes into a community session. So
Yeah.
when that happens and you want us to do something like that, definitely just tell the behavior analyst, and they should be writing it once you do express to them that's something you want to see in sessions moving forward.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. See,
Yes.
and these are the things
Yeah.
down to that a lot of parents like me don't know, and it's just like sometimes it's like, well, this seems like this would be something, but I guess we would expect, I don't know, for there to be a paper of just like available services on what we can do, which there's not really, because I'm that type of person. Like, show me a list and let me choose, but instead it's almost like Austin has all this going on. What do you guys got? And then it depends
So
on
like,
what someone tells me.
does he do like curricular activities? Like some kiddos have music therapy. I'll go with them to other therapies, like if I can help, because I work with a lot of professionals,
Hmm.
but mainly at RBT, since we're behavioral, we work alongside of speech and OT a lot. So if they need help, like I can even go to those things. Uh, what is it? I think some kids do play therapy, or even if your child was in a sport, oh, could you come to practice? And like we're allowed to assist with those things.
Oh, that is so awesome
Yeah.
to know. I feel like
Yeah.
everyone needs to know that.
I feel like parents probably just see us come in and like, I don't want to step on their toes, so I'm not gonna say anything. No, you should say something. If you want to see something, say something. Because
I love
they'll go about what they feel is best. But you guys are who we want to service and make sure you're okay with our services too. And that the child is progressing and moving towards independence in those specific skills you wanted to see.
I love that. My son's ABA. She texts me throughout the day. So it's a very good, I call her his like school mom. Like
Yeah.
even more so than the teacher because like she's on it, I feel like it's just as much as me, which gives me
Mhm.
the, comfortability of at least knowing someone else is watching him. And to be honest, the teachers are relieved. They may not want to,
Yeah.
say that, but they relieved when they're like, oh, okay, at least this
Yeah, I mean, the school setting is very tough.
it
It in
is.
itself, like I definitely get it.
The ratio is crazy. When I was on one-on-one and I used to like go help different teachers, they would almost not really beg for me to stay, but in a way it's just like, do you
But
have to
in a
go?
way, you
Yeah.
find yourself kind of doing another job. And you're like,
Yeah.
you watch who I'm here for.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'd be
Yeah.
there for one child, but then I end up having like two or three children who clearly have similar things that my child has going on, but their parents may not have known to get them the help. So now I'm
And
like three
sometimes
children one on
too,
one.
they don't have one. They just don't have a one-on-one, which is also very sad
Yeah.
because you can almost see it, but
Oh,
it's and I think another thing is I'm running into um, for the schools are actually they have their own therapists. So sometimes schools don't want outside companies coming in
right.
almost. So if they have their own therapists, they're probably going to use them instead of allowing me to come in. And I'm not sure if you are familiar with it, MCIU
No,
or
I'm not.
I'm not very, very familiarized on it. I just know it is more of a center-based ABA service, and that's where most kids will. At my job, they get their OT and speech. They would just go to that specific center. I think
MCIU, you said, right?
MCIU. I'm so sorry, guys. I said this and I don't have any info to back it up all the way because I hear a lot of my clients go there, but I work either in our actual center or I'm out, like driving
Oh,
going
okay.
to a home or a school or um, a community session. I don't.
Are you in the city, or do you like do the city and the outside, I guess, different parts?
I do. I guess I'm right here near Upper Darby. I drive even as far as Willow Grove.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but all my kids right now, I've had for more than 2 years. The
Aw,
longest one I still have, I've had since 5 or 1. So I've had him for 5 years, like my whole RBT career.
oh my goodness. I
So
love it.
I I love all of them.
And let me get to my first question then, since
And
it
yes,
seems
sir.
like you love the kids.
I love you guys.
What got you to get into, doing this particular, there's a lot of different things you can do in the mental health field, but children and then ABA therapist, that's very specific. So how did we get here? Tell us the
How
story.
did we get here? I was waiting for this question because this job, I feel like, actually found me. I was actually a daycare teacher and I was a head teacher for the 5-year-olds. I always knew I wanted to work with kids no matter what. But I didn't really know. I knew teacher wasn't really feeling it too much. I was like,
Yeah.
I wonder what I could do. So I did right out of college when we graduated. I went to work for a daycare. And then this woman comes in and she's like, yeah, I'm here for one of your students. I was like, oh, well, who are you? Like, what do you need? She's like, oh, I'm a RBT. I was like, oh, what's that? She was like, oh, like I track his behaviors. And I didn't know what she was talking about at the time. Of course, I know now, but she was
Yeah.
just explaining it. She's like, yeah, you should look into it if it's something you like. And I was like, maybe I will. I called, I went on that interview, and I loved my first day, and I never looked back.
Oh
It's
my
like she walked into the classroom, and the thing is, I was saying to myself, I don't think I'm happy here. I don't want to do this job. I don't think. And then she walks in and I'm like, look at this. And of course, I still love all the kids, but I was like, I think this is what I was meant to do once I began to
wow.
do it. So, like, if that lady never came in, I'd probably still be a daycare teacher.
What? Well, thank you wherever you're at. Like if she's
Yeah,
watching this,
it's so
right?
funny. See, I actually did track with her in high school. We went to Pinecrest together. And I was like, I know you. I was like, the world is so small, man.
Yes, and that just goes to show you how things are meant to kind of fall in place too,
I
like
was
that.
like, what are the odds it was you?
Yeah, because if you weren't working in that daycare either, in that
You would
particular
have never
place,
came.
so all of
I
that.
just feel like I was meant to do this. It's just funny how it found me almost.
Yeah. Wow. So did she help you? I guess she kind of just opened the door for you and then you researched and you did like the rest on your own.
Mhm. Yeah, she just told me where she worked and she gave me who I could call, and I did it the very next day.
Essentially, that was really it.
You
Like,
need that information. I said, you hiring? Great. I can come in for an interview. And I did like that they really got you ready for some, because somebody who hasn't really worked with children who may need that extra support,
yeah.
like nervous. There are aggressive children. They're a little nonverbal, verbal. Like there's so many things you're introduced to the first day, and you're like, what am I gonna do? But it's really, you just really gotta. The main part is getting to know the client that you're with. Once you build that trust, the rest flows. I would never walk into a session and the child does not know me and I'm just trying to do work with you. I would never do that. He doesn't know you. Why do you think I'm about to take instruction from you? I don't, you know? So I always like make sure I play with the kid, talk to him. Like you never want to rush into working with somebody. You just want to always ease into it because I think sometimes as adults we forget and we kind of overspeak for them or kind of self-advocate for them, where sometimes like let's just watch, let's see how this kid's reacting to certain things or certain people, or does he like this, does he like that. I would just give that time to basically build, like they would call it building a rapport with the child.
Yeah.
to know him, because that's what anybody would do. I wouldn't just expect somebody to take orders from me and they don't even know me. You didn't introduce
My
yourself.
my son thinks like that too. Like that's kind of how he would look at people like,
Like, who are you? And then you're telling me sit down and but I don't
he
even know
actually got
you.
aggressive last year, which like at first they made it, seem like it was a problem. But then when I asked what happened because what led him to those behaviors, it was someone not knowing like that, you should let him know what's going on and then you kind of took something from
Preset.
him. Yeah, and then you
Presets
took
are
something
so
from
important.
him. Yeah, so it's just like, at one point, I understand why he got like that. You kind of should have told, that person that was around him, like, that's why it's good for everyone to kind of be on the same support plan. Because if this person really doesn't know, and then you're trying to force him to do something
Mhm.
where that's not even like, that's what you're going to get. So,
Yeah, and that's really tough too, because again, the ABA, OT, speech, all those are completely different fields.
yeah,
So when all those people try to come together, which I love, when you do try, I love that. When we all try to stay on the same page at all times, is so important because I have seen with one child, speech was contradicting my ABA. So I'm like, well, now they're confused because you're doing like they do things differently. And
yeah,
I get that. So I think that's always going to be a hard part because something I may know that could possibly, like, for instance, trigger Austin, maybe the teacher didn't know, and you just set off the entire morning.
yeah.
Like, it's just certain things I feel like I definitely think we need
There
to
needs to be a
revisit.
more of a connect.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
if you're
probably
doing
someone's
it from different
parents' job.
places, it's like, ugh.
And that was my issue, like, last year, I was just like, "Who's the one that connects everyone together?" I'm like, "Is it me? Is it me?" And I just
Is it me?
and I'm like
Probably.
but
Um,
I pretty much took it upon myself, like, it is me. So we had an
it is
IEP meeting in the beginning of the year to make sure we're all on the same page. We're probably gonna have another IEP meeting in, like, a month. Like, I'm not playing, like, these are set up in certain ways, but that's because I've
me.
learned as a parent that I have to be the one to take
Right.
control and do that so that you guys can, because it makes it easier for you guys too, because sometimes it's not your fault that the disconnect is there. You got how
Right.
many kids going to how many places?
Mhm.
One of my IEP meetings, one of I think my son's one of his therapists, was in the car about to drive while she was like doing it. So I'm like, you guys are always on the go.
Yeah.
So that's what parent advocates are for, which I didn't even know that there were parent advocates. Like there's actually, like, I guess, a service out there for parents like me to find a parent advocate to join those IEP meetings. So
Really? I didn't
yeah,
know
so
that
that
either.
if so look at that, if they're not on top of it as much as, like, say, like, because I have books, like, I'm really on top of it, but I only got one kid, you know what I mean? And my
Mhm.
life is kind of set up in a way to do these things. So if other people can't really, be on top of it as much,
Mhm.
yeah, I did find out from one of the people in the group that we have that you can get a parent, like, and probably a parent of an older kid too. So they've been through all that before.
Awesome.
So you can tell your clients now if they feel
Yeah,
like
like their
they need.
families, if they need, like, I hear a lot of parents in groups with other parents.
That's how we survive.
Yes.
Listen, it's very, it would be very lonely, because that's also why I'm pushing for the public school, because a lot of times you guys are not allowed to tell us who the other children are that have disabilities, and then when we get to the school, we don't necessarily see the other parents of those children, so we don't know each other. And then we already feel like we have, like, we have to be a little different from the other children when it comes to what's going on, where it would be nice to at least know each other so that it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like we're so lonely. And you know what I mean? Like, just things like that, and then the disconnect that you said is there. If we had that public school, there really should literally be no disconnect, because everyone kind of should
Everybody's in the building.
be there.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, especially for younger children, because I'm just seeing more and more, like, you really got to do it when they're younger so that, at least when they're older, they may not need it for as long. You know what I mean? They may always need it, but for not the same
So
length of
happy to
time,
hear
not
you
the same
say
way.
that. Yes. The earlier they say, the better, because you can start early intervention and then basically you fly through it. Or I know if or even if you have like maybe a developmental delay, I
Yeah.
know they do say early intervention, but if you don't need it, y'all can leave. It's just
Right.
in place in case you did need it, and now you're 5 trying to get services. It's
Right,
really tough,
right.
and it's not a lot of behavioral service places, I feel like. The turnover rate is it's just not enough therapists for all the children, you know?
Wow.
So it's like I know a lot of people opening up their own businesses,
Yeah.
to get because the waiting lists are you just
Yeah.
never know when somebody will take your case. That's really how it is. And I'm only one person. If I could take 100 kids, I would, but
Yeah.
I'm only one person, and I don't have like I used up all my time to all the kiddies.
And actually, I'm just gonna skip a question here. So if people wanted to like get in your field, like from high
Mhm.
school or something, like what would you tell like those people? What steps like would you want them to take? Because you did it like kind of after kind of school, but
Yeah.
you guys are saying you guys really need this. So if you could kind of go into high school and talk to a whole bunch of kids, like what would you say to them to be like, this is something that is necessary, you can make a living off of this or something like
I
that.
would tell them the best news ever. All y'all got to do is graduate. You don't even need a bachelor's, actually. It's if you want to be a behavior analyst, you need to have your bachelor's and master's degree.
Oh, I'm writing that
Yeah.
down.
Yes. If you have a diploma or GED, you can be a behavior technician. You would start as a behavior technician. Now, that's just a behavior therapist. I'm a registered behavior technician, so I just have a little extra training.
Um,
And everybody's pushing for the RBT, which you can pay the $50. You would finish 40 hours of experience and then sit for the exam. And then you be a RBT, but you will have to renew it yearly. It's
okay.
every year. Whenever you passed is when you need to renew it um, the following year. If you don't renew it, you will have to take that test again. I had to take it 3 times. I'm not
Oh,
just
so you're not trying to do
so that's what I'll tell you that now. Like it's $50 each time too. So I would definitely study. But it's definitely not that hard. You could definitely be a RBT. And I'm just BTs and RBTs. RBTs are just a little bit more trained. And I am noticing they're saying insurance companies are preferring RBTs over BT. I
Okay.
would be a BT, and then I would work to take that little exam and then just become an RBT. And it's a pay raise. Why not? You know? Why not? And you didn't even have to like do school really. And depending on where you are, RBTs are at 30.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's good, especially if like you're coming out
Whereas
of
if
high
you're a
school.
BT, they're at 22 right now, depending on the company. But 22, 30, might as well just sit and take that test real quick. And
Yeah.
then you love
If you just go to a high school and tell the 12th graders this, like, yo, you want to
you
make, you got
want
some
to
money,
go to
you
school
put
for this.
yourself
I was
money
like,
anyway. Just,
wow.
train yourself. Like,
I will leave my info. I could definitely help if people are interested whenever I come back on the
yes.
podcast too. I can leave that because it really is easy. I just think people don't know about it.
No, for real, I agree. If
And a
if
lot
they
of
knew it
companies
was
would love
as
more
easy as
therapists.
it is, yeah.
We love it. Come on down.
Oh my god. No, I mean, we did talk about this when we first talked that there does need to be a movement in just getting people into mental health, but it really has to start with the children because, we see what's going on with, adults and everyone our age. And it's like, we really want to help, adults, you got to start with kids when they're children. So you see a need and fill a need, and this is definitely something that needs to be filled. So I think that's definitely something that me and you and hopefully some others can like push or work on.
No,
So,
absolutely. Because we really do need some, or, those families just have to wait. And that's pretty sad. And then sometimes some people are on the waiting list for a long time to the point where when services are available, they're 12. Like, and at that age, I feel like you would move on maybe to a transitioning type of service, maybe like, I know a lot of people, parents look into Elwyn. They have like,
yeah,
yeah, they have like for the older kids, because I feel like ABA stops at a certain age. I'm not sure which one it is, and depending on how your insurance is and everything, I feel like it's like 9, 8, 9.
okay.
Because all my children have been like 1 to 5. So
I
I'm
didn't realize that because I feel like it would be more necessary when they're teenagers, especially
yeah.
once the hormones and everything.
Yes. But see, I've had a client that was 11. That's why I'm not sure if it's a company rule
Right, right,
or is it the BACB rules? Because those are different,
right.
right? So it really sometimes it does depend on the company, unfortunately, like how they may run it or what their guidelines are. Um, and for me, in my whole career, I've worked for 2 different companies, and people do things differently. Like some
Oh,
require
okay.
something somebody else doesn't even need. Somebody
Okay.
on their end does it. Like it really depends on where you work, how that works. Because I do feel like that's a time we need to really be doing it. But
Yeah.
I have heard of certain behavioral services that I have to find the name for you. Um, she worked with me. She was a RBT, but later in the night, she's like, "Oh, I have to go pick up my client." I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" She's like, "Oh, we go eat at Chipotle. I bring him home, and then we have session." I'm like, "Really?" And she works, and she's like, "Yeah, he's 20." And I'm like, wow, I've never worked with an adult before, and I would really like to see how that is too. But they have those transitional, like maybe that 20-year-old was living with his parents, and now she will go home with him and show him like wash the dishes or how
Yeah.
to basically, like there's certain behavioral services for that as well.
Oh my gosh,
The
which
older,
I
the older. I
really
think with age, there's just a different company you may have to go to, or like a different building.
yeah, and that may be a thing that's necessary too, which is creating these companies that, will at least help with certain ages. Because it seems like helping younger children, there's a lot of that, but when it gets to teenagers and, like, young adults, it
What
may
about the adults?
yeah, people may not really know as much or, like, as much as I know, because my mom worked in the mental health field, like, she worked pretty much around, like, a group home. So in the front was an office, and in the back was pretty much like the group home, and they would, take care of each other. Like, my mom would take them out to eat sometimes, like, we would all go to, like, Old Country
Mhm.
Buffet and do certain trips and stuff like that. So for
Yeah.
me, I always grew up, let's say, in the mental health field, but didn't realize it because it was, like, my mom's job, and I'm telling you, like, she had clients that had Tourette's. So we're eating and I'm mentally like as an 8-year-old getting used to like, people screaming or like maybe saying something or doing like different
Yeah,
body
but
movements.
it's nothing new to you on
Yeah,
that.
it's not. It's not.
Right,
So
exactly, yeah, and
yes,
that's great because not a lot of people have that background you have. You were able to, like, see it and
it's
kinda
kind of like what you said, how you kind of like fell, your life kind of fell into
do it, yeah.
certain things. That's kind of how it is for me because my mom was a Marine, my dad was a Marine, so they were kind of already they fell into that service sort of thing, and then she just got into like the mental health field, so I'm like another service type of field,
Yeah,
like so, and then I would go to her job after work, so I would end up helping her. So now I'm doing those same things, but it did help me a lot. So then when I had Austin and I found out he had these different things going on, I
mhm,
didn't know it would take as much to like get him the help because for me, I could like if I saw it today, I see it today. But once you like try to get the help, it's like, okay, well, he has to go through this evaluation, but you got to wait 8 months beforehand. He has to
yeah,
do this, but we got to wait a year beforehand. And I'm just like, but I know all this stuff now. And like, I
yeah,
can use the help now.
right
So
now.
he's still on the waiting list with CHOP with the speech therapist, and thank God he's gotten it through school, but that was last December, girl,
Right,
in
that's what I'm
December.
saying.
He's still on the waiting list for a developmental pediatrician, so the way I got him diagnosed was I had to kinda do it through Elwyn, so Elwyn was like, "Oh, we partner with Drexel, so if you
Oh,
want, we
good,
can get him
I
we
know
can
that.
get him evaluated because 'cause we're still on the waiting list with CHOP," and that was from last year. So
But to see how long it could pop, that's, like, really sad.
it is sad because 'cause I'm persistent, so, like,
So
I
you're getting it done for people who may not be as
yeah, I'm just like,
persistent.
"Wow," and then the
It's
kids
almost
are suffering.
Yeah, and it's almost like a closed mouth doesn't get fed. It's
Yeah,
almost like you don't do it, I wouldn't leave it in their hands to do it. I I wouldn't I wouldn't leave it for them to do if it's something
yeah,
you really want. Like, I feel like, yeah, this you really have to be consistent, always call. A spot might open up, like, if you just keep at it. But it is.
Actually, I wanna keep you going on here because we're gonna go into the next question. So if you could talk to parents, well, you are talking to a parent, you're talking to me, but more parents because I know people out there who, like, for some reason, I've done my own research. People may not like ABA therapy because of like maybe some things that they've heard. I'm not sure if you've heard like kind of the stigma behind that. So what would you say to some parents that's like, maybe you should just try it or something?
Well, see, a lot of people do. I could see where people may not like it, but I also feel like it comes from not fully understanding like what I already know. Like I would first tell the parent, if you want to help your child, just try the ABA. And honestly, if you don't like it, you can deny the services. That's it. So why not just try something that may work and you have services than just like not try it at all and you try to find something or wait till you're off the waiting list. I would just try it, and if you don't like it, you can always say you don't want the services anymore. But I would definitely get in there if you can, because it is tough to get services as it is. So if you do have the opportunity, I would jump at it. And again, and even if you don't like the behavior analyst or the RBT, you guys can ask for a referral. You can tell me to leave. You do not need to, stick with the people who came as soon as they took the case. You don't have to do that. You can say, "Oh, I prefer," and it even comes down to cultural. I have one family from Pakistan, and culturally, if there's a male BCBA, she has to garb all up. And that throws my client off, which I will understand you have to do. But you see how that would just clash. So culturally, there can't be a male BCBA on that case. You don't like it, you can just, tell us no. But I really think if you do get the opportunity to get services, I would do it. And I really think it would work. It really does work, especially, and don't just think of it as the BCBA and the RBT. Like, we need the parents too. Like, we are a team, all of us. I feel like the parents, the BCBA, and RBT are the core team. And then there's the outside service they may get that we have to bring in too. But we're the core team. So if we are not working together, please let me know. And they'll find somebody who you guys may like or work better with the child. Sometimes the client does not like therapist. Like, let's be honest. Sometimes they just don't like me. I'm like, okay, well, we can find somebody like they may
Yeah,
pair
but
well
don't
with.
just stop, yeah, don't
Yeah,
just quit
I definitely
because
never leave a case. But when you refer, which I should also point out, when you are putting in a referral, that means you stay until the referral gets there. You don't stop services and then try to come back with somebody new. That promotes regression. Do
yeah.
not do that. So you just stay until they find a replacement. Once you do that, we can start the pairing over again, but still start at the skills he still had. So I definitely think get the services. If you have an inkling, I know some parents don't like to believe something's wrong. But if you have like an inkling, like that milestone probably should, just go check it out.
Yeah.
What could it really hurt? What could it hurt?
I say the same thing, especially if it's free. I'm like, most of these services your insurance covers, like if it's free and if you see evidence that it's helping other children, then why not? I'm definitely the person of like just try it one time and like you said, if you don't like it, then just, try something else, but give it a
Right.
chance.
Exactly. And even like, I just love this job. I always talk about this one client. I don't think they know that they like changed my entire outlook of this job. Because I mean, you get used to like your schedule, you're going to work. And I was like, man, I wonder what this kid's going to do to me today. I just had this weird feeling. And he was also nonverbal. So I'm just sitting there, just doing all my things. We're going through, and we were working on family members. So you just go through, name everybody. And then I was just like, who's this? And he presses AAC device. So if you're nonverbal, they have this kind of iPad looking thing. If you
Yeah.
don't see one, and they have all the icons of preferred items or things they normally need or say. And he just looks at me and he says, "Mom." And I literally cried. This kid had never talked in like 4 years, and his mom came in and she's bawling. And I'm like, he's talking. Full blown sentences now. I don't even know the kid anymore. Oh, look at you. And I love hearing kids get discharged from services. I'm glad you don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
Great. I love it. I just like, and I want therapists to know like you change lives every day.
It's
So
true.
like, be careful what you're doing. Like this is really somebody's life.
Yeah.
Like teaching people how to talk, how to tie your shoe, use the bathroom by themselves. Like be independent humans. It's
Yeah.
like
And when it
so
comes to
good.
being a parent, you guys are like closer to me than the teachers are. If you can imagine that.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like the teacher's the supporting person in a way because she has to get certain cues from all you guys.
From us to
So yeah,
yeah.
to even do that. So
And I
I know
know
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all my therapists. I'll text them and be like,
no,
I hope you have a great school year.
well, and we really love the we love positive reinforcement too. I I really appreciate the parents too, especially the parents who are super involved. You do run into parents who are not as involved, and that's not their fault. We really don't know their family
Yeah.
dynamic. I've been in households where dad stays at home, mom goes to work. Like
It's
you
yeah.
don't really know what you're gonna walk into. So sometimes it's just I really appreciate the parents who do take the time, listen to what I'm saying, or even when there's parent training in session. I'm glad you're coming in to watch, observe. Even asking me questions is great because it almost gives me reassurance. I'm not just coming here doing work and you're letting me leave and you just literally dismissed everything I did. He's only doing therapy when I come here. You're supposed to carry it on when I leave.
Mm-hmm.
My service is not meant to be permanent. People always want to make us a permanent babysitter of some sort. And I'm like, no, we are here to help him become independent or she. And once they are, we are supposed to leave.
Yes.
We're not
Yeah.
meant to be here forever. And it's not how it's supposed to go. No, seriously. I mean, I love all of them, but we like that you don't need us anymore.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, I feel like that's the goal as a parent for all of us to get our children, even if their limitations are different from someone else, just as long as they can reach their full, kind of capacity. They have all the options where they know they can because, they've gotten the help.
Absolutely. And consistency is key. If you
Yeah.
keep working, you'll see the progress. You
Yeah.
really will.
It doesn't take long for Austin, honestly. Like he used the timer, so it took like maybe a couple of days of everyone using the timer, but everyone used it. So now when I say it, it's at home, like, okay, well, when the timer's done, that's when you have to, get in bed. He's like, okay, because he knows what's coming versus, what that lady did, what I told you earlier, where he doesn't know what's coming, just take it away from him. He's just
Right.
like,
Because it
it's
looks like you just took it away. You didn't, even if a child has a 1 minute break, I'll say, okay, 30 seconds, and then we'll be doing this. Like sometimes they need that to know what you're about to do. All right, we at 10 seconds. And then once it gets to 5, I'll count 5,
yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1, my turn. Like you should just give
Yep.
that preset because you are just coming over and like just taking. That looks
I don't think adults think about that because then if someone just took
but that's
it out of your hand, right? You'd be
right.
like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? But you could do it to a kid, right?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. So it's just like, yeah, definitely everybody being on the same page, especially the core team, dad, or parents, teachers, all those people who see the child every day. I
yeah.
feel like is that core team. We probably need to all have each other's number. Oh, they're having speech Wednesday. Well, can you send me what you guys do so I know how he acted? How do you do on this specific thing you worked on? See, I don't even know because I have some home sessions too. Sometimes I don't even know what speech and OT are doing inside the school because that's where they get the services. So we never see each other. I don't even know what you guys look like. No idea. I don't know how his days go. That's why sometimes school is good, but then
I thought that would be a job of like a LEA, because with Elwin, like my son has an LEA, and like I be putting them to work. I'm like, can you make sure this and this, and you can give me their email, but like you're really the connector. It's almost like I'm
right.
the LEA, but you have all the information, so you have to be the one to connect it. But once you give me the information, I'll gladly be the connector. So I even have his speech therapist will text me in the morning and ask me if he's going to be at school and certain things. Like that's how much
Yeah,
y'all
that is
take.
so awesome. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's
That's
awesome, girl. I
that
love
is
it.
great for you. I'm happy for you because
Thank
that's
you.
awesome to have a team like that, and they're consistent with doing it too.
It took me a long time to get here, and it took me a lot of rotating people. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's like what you said. If you don't mesh
First,
with someone, then I didn't mesh with the first LEA, and I'm like, I need a different LEA. Like we gotta, because we're not meshing, and I feel like we're not getting somewhere. I changed that, and now we are. So
it really is a real thing. Like for example, I have one client. I can never get certain things out of her. My one friend I have that works at the same company, she goes and does basically a sub, goes in as a sub for me since I couldn't go. She's like, oh yeah, talked to me the whole time. And she showed me all her stuff. I was like, you saw her room? She never showed me her room. So like things like that, like maybe we just weren't, she wasn't super comfortable.
yeah.
As soon as I was like, well, if you would like this case, I think she'll work better with you. She'll reach her full potential with you. And that's how we did that. So
And it's fair. No harm, no foul. You're not taking it personal.
and the parents were happy because yes, you're leaving. We're not happy about that. But you're leaving, but you also followed up with some more services. You didn't leave me high and dry. I never like to leave parents high and dry. You
Yeah.
should never do that because then it's just like regression is what it's gonna end in.
Yeah.
Because you never know when the next person's coming, but at least somebody's in place until that person shows up.
Yeah,
So,
that's the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not knowing the next person's coming, especially with everything going on now. It's just like, oh, it could be weeks from now, months from now.
And it's just like with everything, like the world itself, we're just all trying to get back on track from like back up COVID and all that stuff. Like
I can only imagine. And honestly, we're gonna have to have a talk here about what you guys experienced during COVID, because I heard that was something else.
Some kids didn't have services for 2 years, and here I am at your house. Time for work. Who are you? It's like, you forgot me. I did have one kiddo. She pushed through 2 years of telehealth sessions. I saw her an hour every day.
Oh my God.
How I made the computer fun, it was a challenge. Most definitely. I have so many slides of like, I had to make token boards, make it look cool. I had to switch the characters because, of course, gotta stay on your toes with my clients. Gotta stay on my toes. They always, I'm like, oh, I got you all this pink stuff. I like purple now. Well, we're gonna use this pink stuff, and I'll go back and use some purple later because I did not just. You told me yesterday you like pink. Their interests.
That was yesterday. You didn't know?
It was yesterday. You know what? I should have known. We were doing the rainbow this week, maybe, because each day is different. I'm like, okay,
it's how they feel.
Exactly.
It's their world, and we're just living in it. I know that's how my son.
You run the show. I'm just trying to find some fun stuff for us to do because you get bored fast, man. They get bored so fast, and I'm like, I didn't bring like a cool. We can. I think off the top of my head sometimes. I'm like, I have no idea because I feel like when they're too. Like when they get things, you said Austin gets things like super fast. When they get them super fast, you're just always trying to figure out something that could be challenging for them, almost and interesting. I'll never forget. I was in one quick story. I was in the classroom setting with my client, and I just hear in the back, like, the parent talking to the child. He's like, I don't want to do this. Like, oh, well, why not? Because we just do this every day. And I'm like, see, gotta switch up. Switch it up. They know you do something every day. Like you have to change, even if it's changing up the schedule but still, like, you got to do something because they get bored, uninterested, and then
I love how honest they are, because when I was a one-on-one, and I probably have told this story in other podcasts, but a child like had told a teacher, he was just like, why aren't you sitting on the rug? And the kid was like, because this is boring. Like, we do this every day. And everyone just started laughing. Even the teacher started laughing because he was 100% right. Y'all do the same thing every day, and he's bored. It's
right.
only the second week of class. He's bored already.
Yeah, and it's just like, I also try to tell teachers during transition times, have the next thing available. Do not tell them to go to their seat and sit and wait for you to get their busy book.
Yeah.
All those things, they need to be there as soon as they get to the next thing, because then it just sparks behaviors. And then you're wondering why the class is everywhere.
I agree. I love it. We're getting close to actually an hour here, so I'm going to try to wrap this up a little bit. But what I think you should do in the future, because of just kind of what we talked about too, is maybe like somehow you can hold little like sessions to help teach like some teachers some of these things, because some of the stuff that you're saying, it seems like if my son's teacher heard it or other teachers heard it, they would be like, oh, I'm finally getting like something I can use, because I know when they go to the school district, and when I worked, like you don't get a lot of information from there. You know what I'm saying? So
And it's cool you say that, because all I've heard as an RBT over the years is parent training, my training, parent training. Never no teacher training.
no, teachers are the ones that need it. They do. A lot of them are outdated. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them are stressed. A lot of them are tired. They're not getting help. And a lot of them
Ratios,
are
again, like
set
you
in
said, are all over the place.
they're set in their ways, and a lot of them don't understand autism. Let's just keep that real. But you have a
And
couple of
then
children in your class that are autistic. But you know what I mean? So
I definitely think, oh my gosh, that's something to think about.
I know we're good.
It will probably help me. Changing the world. Yes, because I just think it's about knowing about. Like, a lot of people don't even know about this, like, at all.
Yes.
But I do like that everybody has someone they know with autism. Like, everybody has someone they know, maybe a neighbor, maybe somebody at church, but we just don't have enough knowledge about it. I think that's what needs. Definitely need to go to some seminars. My job lets me know when there are some. They're usually in Jersey, so if you ever wanted to go to a seminar, I could get that info to you.
Yes, I would love. This is the beginning of a beautiful, co-partner friendship. We're going to be, moving and speaking here.
I'm excited. I love that you're doing this. This is definitely, and I don't see other, not saying you're not out there doing it if you are, I just don't see a lot of you there and being an advocate for your child, and that's awesome. You're probably helping so many people and basically motivating people to maybe speak a little more up for their children. So thank you for doing this. This is awesome.
Oh, thank you. I love that, giving love to each other. And this is what it's about.
Yes, you got to.
This is what
It's
it's about.
something pass it on. Keep it to yourself, pass it along if it can help.
Yes. So Jess, you promised, I already know you promised, but we're going to have you back. We at least got to do this once a month or something like that.
Let me know. You see, I was here. I was waiting for you. Little connection issues, but I was here.
That's all right. We did it. All right. So the next time we're going to be doing it too. So then you say you also have some friends as well that could also come on later on in the future.
And I could possibly maybe see if my supervisor could come, maybe speak. I'll see how her schedule is. Maybe she could even come out one of these months. But definitely have therapist friends that could share some of their knowledge too. Because some people have been RBT longer than me, or now a BCBA. So I could text you that stuff too. And I'll have more info as far as people who may or may not want a job.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
I'm going to take that down too. All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for watching the podcast. So if you see there, you can go down and go to change.org. If you haven't signed the petition, you can sign and share. All right. So we'll see you another time. Thanks, Jessica, for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.